Let us dive right into the thick of it. And that is an issue that we have not talked about very much on this program so far, in at least this iteration of the show, is immigration. And if we want to take a look back at the history of the United States, oh, the United States is a nation of immigrants. Yes, 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 right? Like the rhetoric. In reality and in practicality, immigrants have always come to this country looking for a better life. That is a fact. Immigrants in general usually don't leave their country. They don't migrate from their country without that goal in mind, saying, hey, this land of America is the land of opportunity. We can go get jobs. We can go provide for our families. We can do this, that, and the other thing. Now, of course, they don't always just come to America. Migrants go many other places depending on the situation that they're in, whether refugees or they're migrants by choice, or they have family some other place. I mean, there's a million different ways or reasons to immigrate, emigrate, etc. But America has always had that like land of the immigrants, the melting pot. And although this is true for some people, a lot of the times the immigrants that have come to this country have been not always, but a lot of the time treated as others, treated as outsiders, treated as aliens, as you might hear some of my right-wing compadres call them. This is a way of otherizing and dehumanizing immigrants when they come to the country. Now, why would they do that? Why would somebody intentionally do that? Well, the demonization of another group, the xenophobia, that's what the fear of the other is baked into the ideology. That fear is what drives people on the right, a lot of them, to vote. And to vote for the right-wing authoritarians who are going to, quote, protect you. So the rhetoric around this is utilized and is ginned up all the time. It's ginned up right before elections, if you happen to notice. For example, in 2018, when Trump was president, what was the biggest story at the time? Now, you guys might not remember it. Maybe some of you do. It was the migrant caravan that was leading into 2018 of these people coming in. Oh, they're going to take your, lake houses, which I don't have a lake house. Most likely you don't either. They're going to take your beach house, your mountain house. They're going to come in and do all this stuff. They're going to take, and we'll come back to the stereotypes later, but they're going to, come in, they're going to take our houses, they're going to do all this stuff, they're going to take our jobs, and then they're going to take our welfare and our tax dollars. Now, of course, that's paradoxical, but we'll come back to that later. What the Abbott and DeSantis authoritarian administrations are trying to do and use as political stunts is take migrants. By the way, they're not illegal, or they are undocumented, but they are not illegal. Why do I say this? They are undocumented because they are seeking asylum. Now, how do you seek asylum in the United States? Does anyone know? Oh, wait, I'm not live, so I'm just kidding. The way that somebody seeks asylum in the United States is that you have to be on American soil. So there is in the past, there has been a path for you to walk over, over the border, basically. It's not so simple, but go through the border, become processed by the Customs and Border Customs and Border Patrol. You are given a court date to appeal your case, and then you are granted or denied migrant status or refugee status or asylum status, however you want to put it. Now, it requires you to, in theory, break, and I'm putting this heavily in quotes, the law, because you have to cross the border to seek asylum. So, while we have folks demonizing, otherizing, ginning up xenophobic rhetoric, 2 million border crossings have been processed and arrested and then taken care of, whether through deportation or through the actual process of asylum or whatever they're seeking, under the Biden administration. 2 million in a year. This year. So that doesn't even include 2021. This is a stat that came out today. Like, I'm talking about today. I'm recording this on Tuesday. If that's the case, where a record number of arrests are happening, then how is it that we have a, quote, open border? How is it that these people want to claim that we have an open border? Remember, the people that are being shipped to Martha's Vineyard, which I didn't fully dive into what they're doing. Those folks are not just, it's some guy from Mexico that just jumped over Trump's ill-formed wall and now he's here. Like, that's not what happens. I mean, there are people that do smuggle, there are people that do human trafficking. Those things exist. Of course, there are ways to combat that without making immigrants the target of your ire. But DeSantis and Abbott are using taxpayer money, millions of dollars, to take buses and lure migrants by lying to them about saying, oh, you'll get a job, you'll have healthcare, you'll have a place to live, you'll have all this stuff. And of course, like, that is by itself deceptive, but it's also playing into the that's what they want. They just want to have, everything provided for them. And so again, it's building up this stereotype that they're trying to build. And again, these are asylum seekers. And then he's shipping them, basically, because that is what he's treating them like, goods or basically product to be used in his political stunt, because he does not, and I say he, mostly this is DeSantis getting the credit for this, and whether you want to call it credit or not, he is using them in a political stunt to bolster his electoral process, his electoral prospects for 2024, because he is a bigot. He's using them because he does not care about human life. He does not care about human dignity. He does not care about coordinating with the federal government or other state governments. And they are utilizing this as a stunt to say, see, all these liberals, they don't want these immigrants either. Of course, not noting that when you get processed, when there are processes for these immigrants, they usually get transportation to different states, to different cities, to where they want to go, to where they want to work and live, and might have family, and might be able to get their court dates in due time. Now, again, we talk about this because the court dates that are set for these people are not even close to where DeSantis is dropping them off. So if their court date is in Texas, he's dropping them off in Martha's Vineyard, which is in Massachusetts. They are deliberately choosing a place that is supposed to be a, liberal haven. And of course, liberal haven to them is saying that, oh, these wealthy elite people, rather than stating that, like, actually there's a giant chunk of the country that would welcome these people with open arms. And actually, if you look at the videos, a lot of them are welcomed with open arms and literally given vaccines, medical care, and taken care of, packages. But they're sending them to places, to cities and to towns where they're ill prepared because they're not used to the influx in one shot. Now, if you look at New York City has been getting thousands of these migrants sent by DeSantis and Abbott deliberately targeted as one of the cities because they're trying to overload a system. They're not trying to actually provide for these people the real process that is supposed to be due. You can, if you took 1,000 people and spread them out throughout the country, it's really not that hard. But if you threw 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, keep going in one shot, in one place, of course you're going to overload a system. Now, what they ignore and they try not to bring up is that there is investment and there is government funds dedicated to help processing through the Customs and Border Patrol, through ICE, however you want to, label ICE. I am not a fan of ICE. Through the Department of Homeland Security, there is investments in the southern states to process these people. But they are deliberately misappropriating and spending money, taxpayer money. And again, Florida is not the state that they're crossing in, which is also much more of a problem that we should be looking into. But they're not crossing from there. But he is spending money to ship people from Texas. And I'm utilizing that rhetoric because he is treating these people like animals. He is treating these people like products. He is treating these people like political pawns, and they're not getting treated the way that they should be. He is I'm getting heated because these leaders don't give a shit about human life. They want to wrap themselves in the pro-life flag, but when a migrant needs help, when an immigrant comes with their family and says, "Hey, I'm here to make a better life for myself. This is America." We're supposed to fight for the little guy. We're supposed to bring me, you're tired, you're weak, you're sick. I don't know the exact phrase on the Statue of Liberty off the top of my head right now, but that is what we're supposed to represent. That is the best of America. Immigrants that come to this country seeking a better life, to work for a better life for them, for their children, for the future generations, for the betterment of the country. And they're used as a political pawn. Not only do they not care, they hate these people. It is so apparent that it leaks off of them. The disregard, the hatred, the bigotry, the xenophobia around this from DeSantis, Abbott, Trump, and the like. The fear that is stoked should scare you into thinking, okay, well, why are they so afraid? What are they so afraid of? And this leads you to the stereotype. And again, I shouldn't even have to say this, but Obama and Biden both deport a ton of undocumented immigrants that cross the border illegally. The people that they are using in these stunts are not illegal. They are not breaking laws. They are following the process set forth by the and if you think that the process is broken, okay, we agree. We agree that the process is broken, but your proposal to what we should do must be material. It must be pragmatic. It must be possible. It must be comprehensive. But the right wing, especially these folks, are not looking for compromise. They're not looking to build a stronger process for immigrants. They're using them. Now, let me just quickly debunk some of this stuff, where of course, we talk about the paradox of somehow illegal immigrants, as they are labeled by the Republicans, are both lazy, but also stealing our jobs. How can they both exist at the same time? Of course, they can't. Now, of course, if you look into the actual specifics, migrants do work jobs that Americans don't want to work. Migrants get paid less than the average American. Rather than saying we should punish the businesses that hire migrants, which they never actually do because they are overwhelmingly pro-corporate, rather than saying, hey, we should actually give these people a pathway to citizenship to provide them a way to, make money, legitimately, pay them living wages, and then process them properly, they allow the business to get away with it and want to demonize the individual for fighting for a better life. Now, of course, if you were an average American and you were just saying, hey, I'm living the American dream, I'm just going to fight for my family and protect my rights and work, then of course that's the rhetoric that they would use. But this is what these immigrants want. And then second generation immigrants are also much more likely to start businesses. That's how you see all these CEOs and businesses that are immigrant run. That's a good thing. And then also the tax funding of welfare programs is, well, let me rephrase that. The amount of money spent on immigrants is a net positive for the United States government. What do I mean? Immigrants, specifically migrants from the southern border, pay into the system more than they take out of the system, because a lot of them end up getting, and again, now this is breaking the law, but maybe if we provided them a different outlet, they wouldn't have to do this. And again, I'm not justifying it, but I'm talking through the actual logistics of real life. They do end up getting fake Social Security numbers in many ways to work. Now, who provides them? Their employers. So again, if you want to talk about the broken system, let's talk about the broken system. But the employers provide the workers with these fake employee Social Security numbers, and then they pay Social Security tax that goes in, or employment tax, or payroll tax, I should say, that gets paid into the system that they will never get because they have fake Social Security numbers. This is why, like, all these like stereotypes of all these things that are happening. Yeah, of course, we don't want to just have migrants just pouring over the border, just saying like, yeah, like we're just here and like we're here for, Medicare and Social Security, which isn't happening. Like this is what I mean. It's like, yeah, if that was happening, sure, that could be a problem, but that's not what's happening. So in reality, in practicality, we have to fight where the actual fight is. So let's take a look at, and I'm going to have to probably adjust the volume here, but let's take a look at I think he's in Bexar County Sheriff, which is going to be launching an investigation into our buddy, Ron DeSantis.
To the suspected investigation with regard to the suspected activities involving the 48 migrants from Venezuela that, as we understand it at this point, the facts of the case at this point, are that on Wednesday, September 14th, here in Bexar County in the city of San Antonio, our understanding is that a Venezuelan migrant was paid what we would call a bird dog fee to recruit approximately 50 migrants from the area around a migrant resource center on San Pedro here in San Antonio. As we understand it, 48 migrants were lured, I will use the word lured, under false pretenses into staying at a hotel for a couple of days. They were taken by airplane. At a certain point, they were shuttled to an airplane where they were flown to Florida and then eventually flown to Martha's Vineyard, again, under false pretenses is the information that we have, that they were promised work, they were promised the solution to several of their problems. They were taken to Martha's Vineyard from what we can gather for little more than a photo op, video op, and then they were unceremoniously stranded in Martha's Vineyard.
See, that is the video here of them. I'm going to mute this because I don't want to get fully copyrighted there, but this is them. I mean, like, it's a political stunt. Like, that is a sheriff from Texas talking about luring and then sending them to Martha's Vineyard without coordination with the local government in Massachusetts, which is run by a Republican governor, by the way. Let's just talk about that for a second. A Republican governor. That is why this is so funny. It's not funny, but it's funny because, like, they're not even sending them to like a Democratic governor. Like, yeah, some of them are being sent to New York and Chicago and whatnot, but like Martha's Vineyard is the one being highlighted. Oh, because these wealthy, quote, liberals. Like, wealthy liberals are not the average liberal, first of all. They're not the average leftist. They're not the average person left of center. Like, why it? Yeah, if you send a bunch of poor people, ignore migrants. If you send a bunch of poor people to a gated community, yeah, those quote liberals are not going to act the same way. We all know this. Like, I don't know how this is. Rich people are not the exemplar of a political ideology unless you worship and lift up wealth as a part of your ideology, which the left does not. So it's such a political nonsense piece. Like, these people are such pieces of crap, dude. It's absolutely nuts.